out tobacco land, nothing's really growing all that well, and he's going to have to recoup what he's lost over the last 15, 20, 30 years. And the way he's going to do it is through fertilizer in the middle of his crop rotation. Out of his 7 fields that he's got, only 4 of them are growing products, okay? We've got wheat here, a field of wheat back here. All the way up to the front, we have a field of oats, and here, obviously, we've got a field of corn and potatoes, okay? Now, you notice 3 things missing out of those 4 fields, the wheat and the oats, okay? We've harvested already this year. You see some of our wheat stacked up against the fence rail there. So we're already done. This is a winter wheat product and winter oats, and we harvest late June, early July, okay? So those are the 4 fields. 2 obviously in its cash crop. Oats will feed horses and mules and livestock. Corn literally feeds everybody. So Washington's the slave population and the animal population, yeah.
Do you guys use the vegetables and stuff now for the restaurant here? Or what
Sometimes.
Do you do with it?
We try to demonstrate it down here as much as possible. All along the fence, we go to the barnyard to see flax, and we'll process flax from start to finish. And we'll process tobacco as best we can. If it's produce, we'll cook with it. The interns have had some of our patty pan squash, some of our potatoes, so we kind of use it as best we can. Sometimes it goes to the restaurant, but just like with everything else, it's hard to rely on what happens down here. Sometimes it's a good year, and sometimes it ain't. So this happens to be a pretty good year for us. Okay. But as it was, you see we've got wheat here and wheat there. In between this, and you start to see Washington's incorporating fertilizer in the middle of his crop rotation as part of the fields. Prior to this, the Virginia plan of crop rotation was a field of tobacco, a field of corn, and a field left fallow. All right? The problem is fallow means what? Just empty. Okay, we'll let it rest. That's true, you're letting it rest, but you're not doing anything to help it along. And so what will happen in a period of 5 to 7 years, your tobacco is going to be smaller, your corn is going to be smaller, and in a period of, in some cases, 10 to 15 years, you've already moved on and moved further west. Question already? Or? No, okay. So what's going to end up happening is Washington's looking to, he knows everybody's going to move west. He knows that's the direction people want to go. But we can't just exhaust everything we've got and move further west, and exhaust that and then keep moving further west. So he's pretty instrumental in what he's doing here. So the first fertilizing field you'll see is buckwheat. Buckwheat, by today's standards, is not a grain. It is considered a nitrogen-fixing legume, and Washington knows nothing about what that means. What he does know, and you see this is starting to get pretty tall here, this will be plowed under here shortly, allowed to reseed itself, and it will grow again, okay? This will be the second time we plow it back in, and we'll do it again in early August and early September. So we'll get 5 different cuttings out of this, and each time you do that, again, you're adding nitrogen right back into the soil, okay? In addition, as we get a little further up, we'll see 2 pasture fields, all right? Washington's got 1,000 head of sheep on the estate, okay? They provide you with wool that's going to clothe roughly 316 slaves here. They provide you with mutton when need be, but more importantly, they are walking fertilizer, okay? He pins them on 2 of his 7 fields at each one of his 4 farms, and their job is to graze and leave behind manure, manure that doesn't have to be composted before it's plowed into the soil, okay? And so we see he's kind of experimenting with fertilizer, but this is a good example. Corn is the only plant that's really going to be detrimental in this whole rotation. Wheat, we had the best wheat field we had, and we dumped moldy, nasty, rotten wheat into a gravel pile, okay? It doesn't need anything. It doesn't need rich soil. It doesn't need a lot of water. It just needs to be spread out on the ground and get some sun, okay? So that's not going to take much out. Neither will oats, all right? But corn, you see how tall it is already. By the time all is said and done in this cornfield, how many ears do you get per stalk?
Maybe 5.
2. Sometimes 1. If you have a pretty good plant, it'll give you 2. All of this energy for 1 ear of corn, okay? So that's pretty exhausting to the soil. So the question is, how do you keep that from deteriorating everything else you've got? Do you want fertilizer following corn? Sure, right? Modern standards say, yeah, we have fertilizer follow corn. Washington says, no, we're doing it backwards. He has corn always following fertilizer, okay? Wheat doesn't need anything to grow. We've already established that. That's going to follow corn, no big deal. Corn needs a ton. So those 2 fields of pasture, 2 consecutive years of fertilizer, corn's going to follow right behind it. Your corn's going to do better, and it's going to kind of evenly spread out what you're doing everywhere else. Okay. In addition, as we keep walking, we'll see another field of buckwheat. As soon as everything is harvested, as soon as the wheat is harvested,